This meeting is being held in accordance with the Public Laws 1975, Chapter 231. An adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a notice sent to the Asbury Park Press, Two River Times, and Star Ledger, posted in the main lobby of the municipal building and on the municipal website. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Roll call, Laura, please.
Councilmember Bonatakis? Here. Councilmember Cassidy?
Present.
Councilmember Facey Blackwood? Here. Councilmember Forrest?
Present.
Councilmember Janone?
Present.
Councilmember Trigiano?
Here.
Mayor Portman?
Here. Thank you. We're going to kick things off with a proclamation for Veterans Day. On Saturday, we'll be having a Veterans Day memorial event at Riverside Gardens. So hopefully we'll see you there. Whereas the 11th of November 1918 marked the cessation of the most destructive, gruesome, and far-reaching war in human histories and the resumption by the people of the United States of peaceful relations with other nations, which we hope may never again be severed. And whereas on October 8, 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower issued the first Veterans Day proclamation, which stated, in order to ensure proper and widespread observance of this anniversary, all veterans organizations, and the entire citizenry will wish to join hands in the common purpose. And whereas Veterans Day continues to be observed on November 11th, regardless of what day of the week on which it falls, the restoration of the observance of Veterans Day on November 11th not only preserves the historical significance of the date, but helps focus attention on the important purpose of Veterans Day. A celebration to honor Americans' veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. As we carry on the struggle for liberty and universal human rights, let us draw strength from a moment when free nations beat back the forces of oppression and gave hope to the world. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Borough Council, I, William Portman, Mayor of the Borough of Red Bank, encourage all Americans to recognize the valor and sacrifice of all veterans through public ceremonies and private prayers, not just on Veterans Day, but every day. Okay, we have a couple of presentations. First up, we'll have our CFO, Tom, come up and go over our best practice inventory.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so every year the borough and all municipalities in New Jersey have to do a best practice inventory. It's a series of questions that the state comptroller's office have set up, informational, trying to help maybe plan different things for grants and how our different municipalities are doing. There were 67 scored, 67 questions, and 47 of them were scored, and then 20 are unscored. 36 of the questions were 1 point, and 11 questions were 5.5 points. The state required that we had to have 29 points. Red Bank had 41.5 points. They would withhold your state aid if you did not get 29 points, which I find not very fair, but I don't think there's many municipalities that have not scored 29 points. The summary of the questions, we're dealing with budgets, were they introduced on time, financial statements and debt statements posted on time, which we had posted everything on time. User-friendly budget filed, we did that. We have trust funds for accumulated absences, snow removal trust funds, we have those. Most of the questions we answered yes or not applicable, which counts as a score. There's different questions on the capital program. We have a capital program. Cybersecurity, we were covered. We meet all those requirements. There's core competency questions about finance officer maintaining a GL, general ledger, which we do, and we file everything on time. There was a series of unscored questions concerning garbage collection. They're probably compiling all that data to see if they can maybe help the different municipalities. There's also about lead paint hazards. There's grants out there that they want to compile information. That was unscored, but they want to compile this information for their use. There's health benefits contributions that we have our employees contribute to health benefits. There's questions about shared services. We do as much shared services and we're trying to do more shared service here. There's the other questions about posting on the website. We post our budget. We post our property tax relief programs and a lot of different programs. And then finally, there's different questions on our water utility low income program, which we participated in. So we did everything. It's all filed on time. We'll get all our state aid. So I don't know if anybody has any questions. It's straightforward. All municipalities are doing this.
Anyone have any questions, Tom? No? No?
All right, we're all good.
All right, great, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't take too much time.
Okay, next up is our Community Development Director, Shawnee Ebanks, going to talk about an area, naming an area in need of redevelopment, which we would need to do to move ahead with our transit village designation.
Sorry. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Hi, Shauna.
How are you? So I'm here to present on just the basic first steps of declaring an area in need of redevelopment, or redevelopment area for short. So this is a follow-up presentation to my Transit Village designation update earlier this year. As stated previously, one of the comments from NJDOT regarding the borough's Transit Village application was that the borough needs to remove the train station overlay in addition to the borough changing the ordinance or drafting a redevelopment plan with the transit-oriented development standards. In the application, the borough must demonstrate that existing within the borough, there are redevelopment opportunities near transit facilities and zoning regulations that encourage transit-oriented development. To date, there has been no resubmission efforts to NJDOT since the borough has not addressed the comments in their letter. Therefore, I'm here to ask council to approve a resolution authorizing the beginning process of designating an area in need of redevelopment and ultimately adopting a redevelopment plan.
John, can you get a little closer to the mic?
Sorry,
No, it's okay. Just want to make sure everybody can hear.
better?
Much better. Thank you so much.
I know, I have to go through this with the board meetings too.
Thank you.
Okay. So under the local housing and redevelopment law, NJSA 48-12A, municipalities are given the authority to undertake redevelopment with a planning process in which the planning board plays a key role. The essential steps in the redevelopment process begins and ends with the governing body. This slide highlights the roles of the governing body, planning board, and the public when it comes to redevelopment. The governing body determines the study area, authorizes the investigation of the study area parcels, designates the area based on the recommendations of the planning board, authorizes the drafting of the redevelopment plan, and adopts the plan through an ordinance, which is already the power given to the governing body who's responsible for adoption of zoning ordinances, zoning maps, and amendments, and designating the redeveloper of the redevelopment area and negotiates an agreement. The planning board conducts the investigation through a planning consultant and prepares the study, holds a public hearing for interested parties to comment on the study area, recommends to the governing body to designate the area an area in need of redevelopment, prepares the redevelopment plan through a planning consultant and makes recommendations to the governing body. The public attends the community engagement sessions and public hearing, provides inputs on the standards and uses that should be included in a redevelopment plan. The developer forms a partnership with the governing body to ensure a successful implementation of the redevelopment plan. So the steps in the redevelopment process. These steps help to provide comment and feedback from the general public. So the first step is to identify a possible area in need of redevelopment and prepare a preliminary investigation. Step 2, designate the area in need of redevelopment. Step 3, prepare and adopt a redevelopment plan. 4, designate a redeveloper and implement the redevelopment plan, which is the last step. So the initial step in designating an area in need of redevelopment is the area in need of redevelopment study. The purpose is to ensure that each parcel within the area meets at least one of the 8 criteria, A through H, for redevelopment under the LHRL. The study area is determined by council through a resolution which indicates the blocks and lots and whether the area is to be considered a condemnation area or a non-condemnation area. Note, this has to be determined at the authorization of the study and not during the process when the process has already begun. Only parcels included in the resolution can be evaluated and considered for the designation. The study is a technical report that identifies property information, existing conditions, and whether each parcel meets one or more of the 8 criteria. Under the LRHL, the noticing is different from a regular planning board application. Notice of the public hearing must be sent to the property owners of the study area parcels, as well as through newspaper publication once each week for 2 consecutive weeks, not less than 10 days before the hearing. Copies of the area investigation are usually available for view at the municipal building and sometimes on their website. So these are the 8 criteria, A through H. As you can see, A states that buildings are substandard or unsafe. B, the discontinuance of abandonment of the use of a building for consecutive 2 years. C, publicly owned land or unapproved vacant land for a period of 10 years. D, areas containing buildings or improvements which are dilapidated and such. E, underutilized properties caused by the conditions of title, diverse ownership. F, area in greater than 5 acres which have building or improvements that have been destroyed by natural disasters. G, property is located within an urban enterprise zone, and H, property is consistent with smart growth planning principles. This slide is a recap of the redevelopment process during the 2 phases, designation and planning. The first phase, designation, the area in need of redevelopment. Council authorizes the planning board to conduct the area in need of redevelopment study. The planning board conducts the study to determine if the area meets the statutory criteria. The study finding is presented to the planning board. The planning board makes recommendation to council to designate the study area. Council accepts or rejects the planning board's recommendation. If accepts, designate the area in need of redevelopment. Then council authorizes the planning board to draft the redevelopment plan. The plan is then drafted and presented before the planning board. Council adopts the redevelopment plan. Council oversees the implementation of the plan, and council selects a redeveloper and negotiates a redeveloper agreement. Okay. A redevelopment plan can be summarized as a mini master plan and zoning ordinance for a designated area. Here listed are the required information to be located or placed within the document as noted in the local housing and redevelopment law. The redevelopment plan should be consistent with the borough's master plan and zoning ordinance. The redevelopment plan may supersede all or parts of the underlying zoning regulations. Most redevelopment plans have a provision to not permit or contemplate D or use variances and require amendment of the redevelopment plan instead to resolve any conflicting or inconsistencies. Remember, D variances are only reviewed by the Zoning Board of Adjustment. The redevelopment plan and development review for redevelopment projects are under the planning board's jurisdiction, who only reviews development projects that need site plan approval or site plan approval with C or both variants. So why are we here? The picture of the aerial highlights parcels around the train station in which I'm recommending that mayor and council consider for an area in need of redevelopment. Without going into much details as to why they would qualify as an area in need of redevelopment, since this is all going to be covered in the area investigation, I'm just going to go through a few highlights. There's a total of 19 lots. Some of these sites are owned by government agencies, which are tax exempt. Do you want me to zoom in?
No,
It's on his phone too, if he wants to look at it. We have it in our email.
It's too far.
It's on your phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Oop. Here's the train station. Yeah. Do you see the train station right here?
There's tomatoes.
Bridge.
Right here.
This is the parking lots. This is
There's
interesting.
the
You see, this is me.
station and the parking.
This is
The other side, that's the other side. And then the parking lots are down here.
All right, so there's a total of 19 lots, and some of these sites are owned by government agencies and are tax exempt. Most of these parcels are part of the existing overlay zone. Most of the parcels are used for commuter parking and owned by either New Jersey Transit or New Jersey DOT. These parcels are located on both sides of the railroad tracks, which further revitalization of the area could help with reconnecting the two sides of town, which was brought up during many of the public engagement sessions during the drafting of the 2023 master plan. Majority of these parcels are used for surface parking, which creates heat islands during the summer months.
They're all parking lots, correct, basically?
not all of it.
Majority of them are. So here's just the tax map highlighting the entire area. The areas in red again are the designated, proposed designated area in need of redevelopment. Okay. So to begin the process, the governing body adopts a resolution or approves a resolution directing the planning board to undertake a preliminary investigation of the area highlighted in the previous slides. The proposed study area would help to implement the goals laid out in the 2023 master plan, which recommends replacing the overlay with a new TOD district and using redevelopment as a tool to facilitate the need to leverage the train station as a focus of revitalization while preserving its key function as a transit hub. And one of the strategies in the New Jersey Transit 2020 10-year strategic plan, which is to partner with communities and developers to encourage DOTs that create compact, mixed-use communities centered around high-quality transit and optimizes real estate around public transit hubs throughout the state. So some benefits of redevelopment. It helps with the creation of transit-oriented development around the train station, helps with the creation of placemaking opportunities around areas that struggle with providing enjoyable public spaces for pedestrians. It's a mixture of form-based zoning and traditional zoning. It fosters distinctive and attractive communities with a strong sense of place. And it aids with the improvements to municipal facilities. And it advances the goal of the New Jersey State Development and Redevelopment Plan and the 2023 Red Bank Master Plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Shawna. I'm gonna ask, I just want to run through if the council has any questions. And then while I have you here, maybe we'll open up the public comment too, so that way we get the public to ask you any questions. So anyone have any questions?
I do.
Yeah.
So you mentioned partnering with a developer.
Right.
For the zones. How does it work? I think I might have even seen this for Red Bank Green, but how does this work if there was an RFP process that New Jersey Transit conducted where their property was already designated to a developer, correct? There was a developer that already won the RFP, so they have exclusive on that area.
Right, yes. So about 2 years ago, I believe, New Jersey Transit did put out an RFP for development of their sites, not just in Red Bank, but throughout the state.
Right.
And a developer was chosen by them.
Mhm.
It is at the borough's discretion if they want to still authorize them to be the redeveloper, because this is the governing body's option. This is what the governing body chooses to do per the LHRL. So they can choose whether or not they want to stick with the developer that Transit has chosen, but it's Transit's property, most of it, that's there. So,
Right.
and they have the option of choosing who they want to give their property to.
Understood.
Or else if you prevent them from doing what they want, it's a possible taking, right, Greg?
Yes.
Yeah.
If we can even enforce it.
Can you use the
taking against
microphone?
transit. Sorry.
Please.
I don't think I can. No, I can't. Yes, it would be taken, but I'm not sure that we could exercise taking against the state in any event.
Right.
Thank you.
Can you go back to the overlay page that showed the areas and just kind of point out what each one is, just so, yeah, that one.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So here would be where the train station is. So this is off of Monmouth, right here. I don't know. Cursor. Right here is off of Monmouth. So this is a train station, the parking lot here. Right across here is St. Anthony, the parking lot next to St. Anthony's. And then here is also the parish parking lots. And then across from it, more Transit's properties, and then all the way down, which I couldn't fit into one map, but this long stretch is a part of the rail yard. I'm just gonna go back to the aerial. And then on this side, it's Public Works, the Public Works property and the property owned by Count Basie. And then here, again, it's more parking lots.
And then
I could zoom in if
And the little one across the train station up top is that other little parking. Is where,
that's another parking.
all right. Is that where the rail is? That,
The rail would be here.
okay, so it's that, okay, it's that parking lot, right? Anyone else have questions? Yeah, Ben.
So will the parking still be there for the transit and whoever else needs it if this area gets rebuilt?
It all depends on the redevelopment plan, but I'm pretty sure Transit does not want all their parking spaces to be taken. This is still an active train station and they still need commuter parking spaces.
Is that land next to St. Anthony's, is that owned by New Jersey Transit or is that owned by St. Anthony's?
Have to double check.
Want this? Oh, somebody has their mic on.
I can answer that. That is not, that's state property. I'm not sure if it's, DOT or transit, but it's not privately owned.
Hey, guys.
Now, so if I'm understanding it correctly, so we have a say in what the final vision looks like, so
Yes,
Jersey Transit will develop this on their own or with.
based on what's in the redevelopment plan. So the redevelopment plan pretty much, like I said, is like a mini master plan / zoning ordinance. It lists all the zoning regulation, what the uses would be. It lists what the open spaces should look like, or what a concept of the things that need to be seen in there. It's a pretty detailed, some of them even include like circulation plans. I've seen redevelopment plans that include circulation plans where if they're creating a new street or side street there or bike route, it includes all of that. So a redevelopment plan is a very comprehensive document. It just depends on sometimes how big the site is, how small the site is, how much detail goes into it.
So, wait, keep going, Mayor.
roll. Oh, you wanna roll?
Taking notes says, so, now this is gonna be more pedestrian friendly, bike friendly, is that the concept, you know?
Right, so a part of the initiative when it comes to the transit village / transit oriented development standards. They promote uses that are on the pedestrian scale, less car uses, more open space, creative placemaking opportunities, arts, involvement with the arts, involvement with just making a space more active than passive, where not only it's used for just the development, but it's used for everyone. Those that pass by on just the pedestrian scale.
And some of this could include things like solar panels.
Yes, so that also is can be included in a redevelopment plan. You could require them to be like a green building, forgot what, a LEED is certified. Some of them do include, you have to achieve a certain level in a LEED certification. Again, you can be as distinctive, as restrictive, as open as you want. It just depends on what you want to see, what the community wants to see. And the redevelopment plan is actually a perfect time to kind of, give a good vision.
And there would be a limit on the height of the buildings?
So our master plan has a limit for that site of 5 stories. That's what is recommended in the master plan. Based on the analysis that's gonna be done for the redevelopment plan, I mean, you could go higher, you could go lower, it all depends, but the master plan recommends that that area be 5 stories.
So, could affordable housing be a significant part of this?
Right, yes. Transit requires, based on their agreement, for this, their designation, their redeveloper designation, they require at least 20% of the development to be affordable housing. The borough can, on top of that, in their agreement with the redeveloper, decide to increase the number of set-asides, affordable housing set-asides.
And that would also go for ground floor offices or.
That all depends. If mixed use development is a requirement in transit oriented development. That it's not just one single use, but it's a mixture. So you can put that you want to see office space, or again, this is all what the community and the governing body, the planning board, everyone could kind of come together and say, this is what we want to see. And it happens more faster than normal zoning, which you see can take place over time. It's like if somebody's interested in a property. This is that you have a developer, you have a site and you can see the progress and the improvements made to the site on a faster, level than it would on regular zoning, which is just based on interests.
Pilots, one of the favorite topics here in Red Bank. So, my issue, because I served on the Board of Ed, I don't want to see, I want to see our schools get proper funding. Is pilot potentially part of this, and can it be negotiated so that it has a fair distribution of funds to not just us? Pilots, I'm talking about, Barbara, and asking about that, because one of the issues I had, and I'm no longer in that role now, but if we have some kind of agreement or redevelopment agreement, what exactly are our options as far as things like pilots or other incentives?
So that is all up to the governing body, whether or not you grant the redeveloper a pilot. Just because you designate an area in need of redevelopment and you have a redevelopment plan does not mean that you have to give someone. It is all at the discretion of the governing body. When it comes to the distribution of funds, the municipality collects all the property taxes and are legally required to provide 100% funding to support the budget approved by the local school district. So if the district budgets, a certain amount, then that is what the municipality would be required to collect and provide to the school. So no matter if there is a pilot, it's based on what the budget is, the school budget is that you have to give them.
No pilot or no pilot.
Yeah.
Schools are getting funded.
Right.
Thank you.
You can, a pilot though does give less revenue to the schools in the ordinary course, but you can arrange a pilot. With the 20% affordable housing, that has to be subsidized in some manner by the market rate units. So the trade-off for affordable housing is either increased density or a pilot incentive for the same term as the deed restriction. The pilot agreement, you can put in there that the percentage that's part of the tax levy goes to the schools. They changed the law fairly recently to allow you the flexibility to do that. Previously, though, the original pilot law only allowed 5%. But you can put a higher percentage that's more akin to the actual tax levy in the town. So you do have the flexibility to do that if there is a pilot. And obviously there's the trade-offs with it too.
Okay. Now we do have final say, right? If there's some proposal that New Jersey Transit comes up with, it'll come before this body?
You have a say, as in they have to build according to that plan, to the redevelopment plan. That's where it is. If they deviate outside of the redevelopment plan, that's when they'll possibly need a variance. It can be a bulk variance, which is fine, but they have to stick within the major concept of the plan.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, I'll go back a step before where Ben was just at. And first off, thank you for the presentation.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
appreciate having you
Thank you.
here. I appreciate you being here. I never can tell. It always sounds so loud up here, so thank you. I just want to go, I understand, thank you. Yeah, so look, if we move from phase 1, that says designation, we go into the planning phase 2. The planning board comes up with a recommendation, and in step 2, it's up to this body whether or not we accept what the planning board comes. What if we don't like what comes? Can we give feedback and say, you have to make changes and bring it back to us, or is it an all or nothing proposition at that point?
You can make changes and send it back to the planning board. It always has to be consistent. And at that point, I always feel like in my years of doing this, by the time we get to the governing body to adopt, everyone should already be on the same page. Everyone should already have reviewed it. Everyone should have been okay with it. The public, the planning board, the governing body, everyone should all say one at that phase when it comes to you for final adoption by ordinance.
Shauna, would you also characterize, it seems like this is one of the benefits, would you characterize the redevelopment plan as being more comprehensive than simple zoning for that area? I think you mentioned it's kind of form-based and.
Yes, it's a mixture of both. So the form-based zoning is more on how the building fits within the envelope of of the streetscape. So you're looking at everything. There will be diagrams that show this is what the building should look like. This is how much window space or openings or sunlight, or that's how detailed this plan can really be. Unlike the regular zoning where, you know, it's up for interpretation half the time, where you're like, well, it doesn't really say this, and then that's when you go back and forth, you know, at the zoning board and planning board on, you know, what's your interpretation and trying to convince the board. The redevelopment plan is so laid out and so detailed that when you come before the planning board helped to write this thing and approved it. So you're just saying, hey, the plan you're presenting is kind of saying, hey, I built to your standard. Approved that the site is there. This is the use, because again, permitted uses and conditional uses are what goes before the planning board. So it's already a permitted use. I built to your standard. I just need to go to the formality of a site plan approval.
Got it. So we can ask for look and feel, scale,
Materials,
everything, certain features.
yes,
Specifically that are beneficial to the town.
exactly.
And residents would have, it sounds like throughout this process would have multiple instances to view and to give input on this plan. Is that correct?
Correct, yes. And again, in my experience of doing this, I've always found that it was very important to have public feedback, not only at the public hearing of the planning board, but also during the drafting process. That always works best. Always the best outcome when the public gets a look at the plan or just the basic concept ideas and is able to, you know, have some type of input. And then again, once it goes to the planning board, the public can say, I, you know, said this and this is what you're presenting, or that's not what I said. And then they can, you know, testify against the application or object to not the application, but the plan. So if you, as the governing body, decides to move forward and authorize a study and ultimately authorize the plan to be drafted, I do plan to be very involved and to have multiple public engagement sessions outside of the public hearing, because I just feel like it's very important, especially around sites like this where it's the welcoming mat of people coming out of this into this town from public transportation. And if we're trying to, you know, promote everyone to use the public transportation system, then we have to have, you know, something that's presentable and represents the best of Red Bank.
I'm just trying to, oh, you're good.
I was gonna go ahead.
I have a general question, Shauna. Thank you for the presentation. Now, if we did do our designation of a transit village, and I think everybody would agree, if you're going to do denser development, it being around the train station would be the best location for a town like Red Bank. Does it give our town any negotiating ability with New Jersey Transit to modify their bus and train schedule that would be more in the interest to encourage people to use mass transit?
So under the transit village designation, not redevelopment, but under the transit village, then yes, that, you know, we can have talks with transit about their scheduling. And I guess it's also based on their annual reports that they do. They evaluate their ridership and things like that.
So just to be clear, right, are you under your steps for the redevelopment process, right? First one is the council authorizes the planning board to conduct the area need of rehabilitation. Redevelopment, sorry. Are we including anything included with that other than, is that just a resolution planning board run with it? Are we sending them that overlay that you?
Yes, so it is required that you present a map with the resolution. highlighting the area that you're going to be studied and that the block and lots are included in that resolution.
Okay,
So yes, that's,
so we send that to the planning board, say, hey, this is the area we want you to look at.
yes.
And then
And then the consultant, the planning consultant, then takes that and starts compiling, information to make up the study. And then it's presented to the planning board.
now, at what point are we adding in those things we were talking about? Hey, we want to have solar on the roof. We want to.
That's when, the planning board says, we've reviewed these sites. We recommend that all or some of them meet the criteria for redevelopment. Governing body, please adopt this. And then, or please designate this, then you as the governing body, then go back to the planning board. It's a lot of back and forth. Go send, by resolution, go to the planning board, please draft a plan. And that's when the back and forth goes in on what happens with the plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
I just wanted, for clarity's sake, we're looking at a map, has a lot of red on it, and the word built is being used a lot.
Right.
Can you just provide some clarity about how other spaces in an area redevelopment zone would be used besides building? And, once again, about how, is there any minimum percentage in the area of needed redevelopment that would have to have new development on it? Is there a percentage like that, or?
That can be laid out in your redevelopment plan.
Right, it's not required of us beforehand. It's not saying that everything there is gonna. I
know
want that to be really
big, huge block of walls.
correct. I really just want that to be clarified because like I said, but a lot of these spaces that are in this area could be the placemaker spaces. They could be space that's used for better bike and pedestrian infrastructure and creating that equity. It's not, an arts corridor. It doesn't necessarily have to all be new build.
Five-story building.
Correct. I think that really needs to be made a point, because as we're looking at this map, the amount of area being covered on it, I could see that being said. So thank you for being so transparent and blunt and saying, no, this is not gonna just be a big wall of buildings everywhere where it's red. Thank you.
I know, and I don't think transit wants it to be like that also.
Right.
They have come together and created like a manual of best practices for transit oriented development, which in speaking with transit with regards to the transit village overlay, they push this manual and they say, read our manual and incorporate these standards within your redevelopment plan. So some of it's like street designs, more trees. They give you examples of how the sidewalks should look, give you examples of how to do like the barrier separation between bike paths. It's a very detailed manual on that you can follow and incorporate into the plan, and that helps us score more points with our when they review our application, because they are going to look at that redevelopment plan and they're going to look and see if we incorporate any of these standards. And we may not get our designation, our transit village designation, if they just see these huge developments, these build blocks,
we don't.
with no, open space, nothing that invites people in.
We want people to go to the train station or be getting off the train and be like, wow. Like that's the first point of contact on the ground, like you said, the welcome mat to the town. So yeah, definitely incorporation of green space, bringing that bike and pedestrian, equity in, and that's what really excites me about that, about the whole thing.
And even like they give examples about what parking structure could look like, make a parking structure look like a house, or incorporate that, but it's just not, the everyday mundane,
Aesthetics.
yeah, it's very big on that. And I definitely push for redevelopment plans to have a lot of aesthetics to go. If you wanted to have like a historic character, if you wanted to use this type of brick over that, if you want, stucco, less stucco, less vinyl, again, be as detailed as you want, and I, advise the public to be that detailed. This is more your plan, not just the governing body and the developer, but this is your plan, and because it's, people have to live with it.
Can you use your microphone?
I noticed that the Public Works facility in Phoenix outside of that are included. So is the idea that hopefully one of these plans may resolve some of the challenges we have with the Public Works facility?
Yes, we're hoping that the influence kind of goes over to the Public Works site. It's not that it's saying that, oh, we're gonna sell off, the borough should sell off the Public Works, because it's definitely well needed, but it can help to make some improvements to it. Like I've seen where, for example, in South Orange, where their former municipal building, beautiful Tudor looking design, absolutely gorgeous. And over the years, it was run down, dilapidated. They had to move out of there, but they couldn't afford any improvements to it because to bring it back to the character of what it was a great expense on the town. They turned that area into a redevelopment area around it, and they were able to adaptively reuse their former Village Hall, that's what we call it, Village Hall, into this beautiful site, well, that's now a bar. But it's, but I mean, like,
I didn't think that was gonna be the end of this story.
it's bar, but it's like a it becomes a bar.
Right.
But the building itself is there. The interior just looks absolutely amazing when for years, the ivy and everything is overgrown and everything is cracked, but it was through them making it a redevelopment area. They were able to get some type of funding to build back that site and make it another, character to that town that was for many years overlooked. Not overlooked, but it just their village just could not afford to make the improvements necessary for it.
Thank you, Director Evans. Shawna, thank you. I want to open up, vote real quick to open up the floor to public comments for agenda items only. I'm going to ask you if you have a comment on something on the agenda other than Shawna's presentation, just wait. So that way we can get anyone else up here and then Shawna can get out of here. So I have a motion to open the floor for public comments.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so if anyone has any questions for Shawna, come on up. Questions or comments, I should say.
135 Rich Avenue. Thank you, Shawna. Just a couple of questions. You mentioned that there were 19. Should I think about that as lots?
Yes, oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, lots and parcels interchangeable.
Thank you. And you mentioned that there's a combination of New Jersey Transit Department of Transportation. That's federal or state?
State, New Jersey Transit and New Jersey DOT.
Okay, and then there is some privately owned.
Right.
You mentioned the Chestnut Street location of the Basie Center.
Right.
How does one go about getting?
Well, so at the very beginning, when again, the study is initiated, the owners of that site can come to the planning because they will be noticed as a part of the noticing requirement. They can come to the planning board meeting and say, hey, I don't think my property fits this. I'm asking that you remove it from your study area. And the planning board can choose to say, okay, we'll listen to you and we'll remove your property from, we'll make a recommendation to the governing body that we're to remove this property. Because as you said, it doesn't meet standards. So then it would just be excluded from the designation if council decides to move forward with that. But you're talking about how would one acquire it?
No, I'm talking about, what happens when, the owners of properties, say, I do not want to be part of the.
Then it's up to the governing body if they wanna take that recommendation, if the planning board chooses to recommend removing it, yeah.
They don't.
And if they don't,
If the planning board does not agree, or the council does not agree to exempt that privately owned property.
then it's not like it's a taking. So you can't just take it, just because it's included, doesn't mean that the borough's gonna automatically, take it from you, because again, it's a non-condemnation plan. It's a non-condemnation area, it'll just be there, but it's up to the developer, property owner, if they wanna sell it or do whatever to it, to improve it.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
I should also mention that it must be a negotiation in this borough.
Right,
Due to chapter 55 of the Borough Code prevents the mayor and council from using eminent domain in any redevelopment area in the town.
In Reardon, 20 Irving Place. First, a couple of real detailed ones. The long spike that goes to the south, does that go all the way to Newman Springs Road?
and no, it goes to, Dr. James.
And is that the old freight line? Does it follow the course of the old freight line? Kind of looks like it does.
I see it across it. That's a color.
Yeah, and then there's a train line that crosses.
Consolidated line.
Yeah, exactly. It's no consolidated line. It's closer to Bridge Avenue than the freight line is.
And when thinking about connectivity to the train station, it would make sense if we're looking at bike and pedestrian and infrastructure improvements during that corridor.
Okay, so, and what was the process for getting to that map? Like, how were those properties chosen? By whom? You know what I mean? Just how did it?
Right.
Yeah.
So, it was brought to our attention, by the redeveloper and by Transit. They came to us, and they selected 8 sites. The only sites that were added, in this process, other than that, was the, public works site and the site owned by Count Basie.
And you had mentioned that a redevelopment plan can be very specific, and it can include form-based zoning.
Right.
Can a zoning ordinance also include form-based zoning?
Yes, the zoning ordinance can be a form-based zoning ordinance. Some municipalities, when they overhaul their entire ordinance, they do incorporate, some form-based standards in it. I know, for example, Newark's, zoning ordinance, they're a mixture of form-based, and actually New York City's zoning ordinance too, it's a bit of form-based too.
So could a zoning ordinance be as detailed as a redevelopment?
Yes, but then you kind of run into, you can have standards on how you want it to look aesthetically. Yes, you can do that. But then you run into the problem of making it so restrictive that you can't develop, and then every minute you're sending something to the zoning board because it does not, and they need a variance because your ordinance is just so restrictive that they have to get a variance for it.
But
so it hinders.
If the zoning ordinance doesn't allow it, they can get a variance, but if the redevelopment plan doesn't allow it, they have to rewrite the redevelopment.
Yes,
Which
but
means
that's
going back
all
to the
at the,
planning board and bringing it back here.
yes,
So,
and that's all at the discretion of the governing body if they want to do that.
right, but to make a change, if the zoning that we write isn't right, and it's in a zoning ordinance, and it goes to the zoning or the planning board, and they can grant a variance, but if it's in a redevelopment plan, then it has to come back here, they have to send it to the planning board, then it has
Right.
to come back here again, and then they have to pass another ordinance to pass the new.
Right, yes.
development plan. Okay. So, those are all my questions. I do have some comments. So, as many of you know, I'm not in favor of an area redevelopment anytime, anywhere in Red Bank. I think this is a twisting of the redevelopment plan law. An area in redevelopment, an area in need of redevelopment is an area that is blighted. That's what the law says. It is a blighted area. Now, you might make that case for the rate spike, that it's blighted, but the rest of Red Bank is not blighted. It does not need these extraordinary rules, extraordinary exceptions made for development to take place. There are people eager to develop these lots. If you open them for development and you give it a reasonable zoning ordinance, people will build there. So I'm opposed to any kind of redevelopment area. There's only 3 reasons. You take an eminent domain off the table by making it a non-condemnation area. So there's no, that is one reason to declare an area blighted. Another is the zoning one, and it sounds like you can do everything, all the zoning things that you want with a zoning ordinance, which is kind of the way that zoning should go. If you don't like the way these are zoned, change the zoning. So, and then the other is the finances. You can give a developer a tax break. I don't think that we need to offer tax breaks to people to develop these lots. People want to develop these lots. If we told people they could develop the DPW, they would. People want to develop these lots now. We don't need to increase the tax burden for the rest of us. As far as the school district, the borough will pay the school district whatever the school district puts in their budget. It's not, you get, but that's going to drive the rest of our taxes up. Because now we're going to have to come up with a school tax that this property owner is not paying. So the pilots are a bad idea. Other scarier thing that opens up is redevelopment area bonds, where the borough goes into debt in order to help finance a development. This was part of the plan for, well, most of, if not all of, the proposals for the White Street parking lot. They wanted the town to go into debt to pay for that lot, and then the pilot would pay off, would be enough to pay off the payments on that debt. So that the borough wouldn't actually pay anything, but they wouldn't pay any taxes either. The pilot would only be going to pay back the loan that we took out for them. So I'm really concerned that it will be used that way. The other thing is, I can't find in the statute, and Greg, maybe you can correct me, but I don't think this ever expires. We have a rehabilitation area that was declared in 2017 that encompasses most of the town and a little bit of this area. Nothing's ever happened with it, but it's there forever for any council, any future council to use to spot zone as they choose. So if you create this redevelopment area, it's there forever. If you're going to permanently change the zoning, then permanently change the zoning. Don't permanently give future councils the opportunity to give tax breaks to people who want to build there.
Breaks.
So I just think the redevelopment area is not necessary. It's not appropriate. And it exposes us to a risk that a future council will abuse it. While I'm up here, I'd like to ask you, consider getting rid of that huge area in your rehabilitation. Because again, we don't need to give things to developers to get them to build. People want to build in this town. We don't need to give them special spot zoning. So let's get rid of that area need rehabilitation. The last thing I want to say is, as I was looking through the New Jersey Transit Village, just for your info, they said that they will provide consultant assistance on planning for Transit Village. So as you build your new zoning ordinance, not the new redevelopment plan, but as you build, as you plan that area, they will help you. The person to contact at NJDOT is Megan Massey, who's on our planning board. So I hope that you will involve her in the plan. in more than just her capacity as somebody on the plan.
One question on it, just to clarify, did you say we can pursue our transit village designation without having an area?
Yeah, the letter that you got from NJDOT. But anyway, it said, we don't like the overlay, either zone it or create a redevelopment. It gave you the option of doing either one. And I think zone it. And I'm not convinced it's the right zone. If we want to encourage density around the train station, bigger area. You know, I don't know how big, but this is just New Jersey Transit trying to get get their properties. But I think we should look at what do we want more density. Where do we want more density around the train station? Try to control it. I would have loved to see design standards applied to the two buildings that went up, down, that are going up, down along. So I think look at it more holistic than just giving New Jersey Transit a redevelopment plan. Thanks.
Thank you.
5 minutes.
Is that your laptop?
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Suzanne Biscoli, 25 Cedar Street. Kind of took my question away about, or emphasis on the tax situation and school funding. Because it would fall on us, the taxpayers, to make up that gap difference. You're talking about the planning and the zoning, the areas you want to inform and everything, but what comes first, the horse or the cart? Is there going to be a traffic study in that area to say what the issues are now? So when we do any changes, any potential pros we can add to make it better, or is it something that's kind of done when each individual property owner comes to you guys and say, hey, I want to do X, and do a traffic study plan? Because even at I want to say both the last zoning board and planning board, there was one building that they wanted to put up for 4 stories, and a lot of the residents were complaining about traffic. So we have to obviously take into consideration not just our roads, but also our maybe other issues like our sewage, or what can be handled structurally with the system. So is there any plans? I mean, I thought there was a traffic study, I saw something online, there was a traffic study in the works back in July. Has a traffic study been completed yet?
Is this a question for Shauna about the stage of when a traffic study would be done? Okay, sorry, Shauna, is there a stage of a traffic study?
So yes, during the, I have seen in some redevelopment plans where, like I said, this is like a mini master plan where sometimes there is a separate consultant that does a traffic study and it's incorporated within, and the results of it or their recommendation based on the traffic study is incorporated in the redevelopment plans. But that just makes the redevelopment plan more costly to get a traffic professional to study the circulation patterns of the area, make recommendations. So yes, during the redevelopment planning process, drafting of the redevelopment planning process, you can do a traffic study and incorporate recommendations from it.
So with that being said, does the town when's the last time the town has one in that area? Is there something is it recent that we can use to kind of gauge, or hasn't been one in a while? Because traffic is definitely an issue. I think we all can agree upon that.
We did a circulation study maybe 18 months ago, something like that, and it incorporated that area near the train station.
Is that traffic study public?
I believe so, yes. I'll check with Greg when we're offline, but I believe so.
Yeah, taxpayers paid for it, so it's completely intel, and you can certainly see it.
My tax is always going. I think a traffic study is important. also, like I mentioned, infrastructure. I mean, is there an infrastructure study done too? How much
For Sean.
sewage and stuff that's.
Thank you.
I want to be respectful.
No, it's fine, it's fine.
Is there like a study in infrastructure? How much can these areas hold? And whether a 5-story building or what?
An infrastructure plan can be included in the redevelopment plan. Again, all of this can be as detailed as I mentioned before, as detailed as you want it. An infrastructure plan, a circulation plan, all of that can be in components included. And with an infrastructure plan, you have to look at the past history or the existing conditions, because that's how you're gonna make recommendations and that's how you're gonna make standards within the plan. So all of that has to be looked at. It just depends on how detailed the borough wants their redevelopment plan to be.
And does that come out of the planning board first, or is that?
That's all when you're developing the plan.
Thank you. Yeah, Jimmy.
Jimmy Dar, 48 West on Center Avenue. What is for you, it's too congested now.
We get closer to the mic.
Thank you.
Mike.
It's too congested now. It's better off to leave it like it is. It's more, the air is more better and you can get around better. You talking about leave the car at home. Ain't nobody gonna leave their car at home. Nobody, cause this place is too small. They're trying to do like any other place. To me, leave it just like it is and not, what's Mr. Reardon said? They're not gonna pay taxes for 10, 15, 25 years. So the people are gonna pick up paying the taxes. You know, it's like they're gonna get money in their pocket and the people gonna be paying, giving the money to them freely. And you should just leave it like it is. If they had the council can vote tonight and they said, no, it's better. I would advise y'all that say no. Because all it's doing, can't get through here, is bumping all the way down here. You really got to look where you're going. And to me, I see this all the time. You hear this all the time from North Jersey all the way down. And this is a bad idea. A lot of people talk about this all the time. Why do you want to keep building? The place is too small. It's too small to do this and just want to do a rail car. This is not San Francisco. This is not Philadelphia. Someplace like they see that, but here it's too small, a rail car. And you know, Thomas freely you can walk, if you want to take a cab, you can take a cab. You want to take a bus, you can take a train, you can do whatever you want to do. Nobody should sit there and make a decision what a person should do. But clean air, to me, leave it just like it is, because it's going to be building up. You ain't gonna see nothing, no one. You ain't gonna see daylight because you can't see what you see. And how long the train station been there?
It's been there a very long time.
Yes, right. To me, leave it just like it is. It's nice and compassionate, just like it is. And to me, it's just like they said, people come in here, they want to build and build and build. And like you said, there's really nowhere to build. People say, God, it's like, why don't you just give them a Lego set or something? Give them a shoebox and let them build. You want to build something, go home, take a shoebox, you build right there for your own standard, not for my standard, because you can't build for me. I haven't, I've been here a long time down this area. And to me, it's like, all they're doing is, all this doing is pushing people out. People are leaving. It was nice one time. What happened? This building and building. Why does it just keep building? I told them, I don't know. But to me, they just need to take that, put it back in the drawer. That'll be the best thing, because it's not going to do anything. And I was asked, why developers get free taxes and they don't pay them for 20, 25 years, but the people, like they said, will be paying for them. And we'll never know. And I always said, we're not going to have no say so. That's the way I feel. It's going to get, they want to do it anyway, just run over people. They don't have no compassion feeling. And I always said this should really open up to the public to tell people out in this whole entire town, because a lot of people don't even know about this. I said, sometime come to the council meeting, because you'd be surprised. Just like I came tonight, And I'm glad I came tonight, because look what I walked into. Thank you.
Thanks, thank you, Jay. Anyone else? Yeah.
Good evening, Cindy Burnham, 71 Wallace Street. A question for Shauna. Shauna, the pink to the left, is that Johnny Jazz Park?
No. That's nowhere
What is
near
that?
this, which page?
That's on what street is that on?
This one where my cursor is, or?
Wait, where are you?
I think it's two separate maps.
It's two separate maps. Look at the very bottom right. Yeah.
This one?
Yeah,
That's Bridge Avenue in Oakland.
oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I had another question. Is there a possibility that Red Bank could lose its historic train station?
No,
Oh, tell me.
it is designated on the state registry, so you can't lose that. And also, just because an area, again, just because something is designated or a location is designated as an area in redevelopment doesn't mean that you will lose your historic site. It's more incentive or it's a more help to actually not build up, but to improve it. To get funding to help with sustaining it, to maintaining it. So just because you're including a historic site or a historic area in a redevelopment area does not mean that you will lose your historic designation. In some redevelopment plans, they have a historic element to it. So if you are working on a historic, if you're doing an adaptive reuse, or if you are renovating a historic building, there's standards in there within that redevelopment plan that tells you how to do it.
So are you saying that it could be rearranged?
Not
the
rearranged,
station?
but just helped, or it all depends. Again, it all depends on
Would it
what's
be
going on.
it wouldn't be modernized or anything, would it?
It's a historic building.
Because it's a historic building.
Yes.
right? So I'm just saying it'll probably stay the same way that it is.
Most likely, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Well,
Seventh floor. I just got a couple of questions. It took the word out of my mouth. There's too much traffic in Red Bank. It's the other night on Dr. Parker Boulevard. About an hour from Maple Avenue to the Lucas Ranch Road. I'm not looking at the traffic. I'm just looking at building. Transit. I went to them, they want to build so fast. They never fix the tracks on Dr. Parker Boulevard. I think that's something that they should have been looking into, and they can fix as soon as possible. Now, years and years and years, nobody, the only board and nobody brought that up. But look at that. You ever been down there?
Yeah.
It's terrible. Everywhere else, it's fixed up, except there. I'd like to see that improved.
thank you. My name, Amy, there's a gentleman right behind you. Call him first.
Hey, my name is Greg Fitzgerald, 58 Locust Ave. First off, thank you, council. Thank you, Shauna. Really appreciate you guys inviting us in, being transparent about this plan, the process, what it could take, what the process would be. I live 3 blocks from this area. In question, I'm on the train at least once a week. My wife takes it 2 days a week into the city. We walk by this area on a daily basis. I think this is great. I think this is tonight the beginning of a process that would be a study into a plan that might yield things changing, that might yield a transit village designation. I think that's great. Nothing is being determined tonight. This is just, do we want to explore it further? Do we want to look into it more? And I think given this area's importance in the town, its inclusion in the master plan as an area to focus on, a connective tissue between Broad Street and the west side, the impact that changes to this area could have on the west side and residents on the west side, which are another part that's called out in the master plan. I think this would be an unequivocal yes, that we should explore this further. So I'm really encouraged to see us talking about it, and I am in full support of moving forward and exploring it further and doing it in a smart way that, again, incorporates people's opinions, bringing people along for the journey, having sessions to hash out all these issues of, will the station change? Will this change? Is every parking lot going away? Is it not going away? That will all get, talked about and decided in the studies. And I look forward to that process, but I just wanted to say, full support as someone who would affect my day-to-day life very much. And I would be very excited to see more people using the train, more people on public transit, more people coming to the west side, supporting west side businesses. I think that would all be great. So just wanted to thank you guys for this opportunity. Thank you, Shauna, for kicking off this process. Thanks.
Thank you. Amy, you up? Yeah.
Amy Goldsmith, 16 Locust Avenue. I live on the other closer to Shrewsbury Avenue, so I'm a little close to this. I appreciate the dialogue and the conversation. And I've lived in Red Bank for over 27 years. And I've seen how just my block, no less the neighborhood, has changed and who lives in my neighborhood. And I love my new neighbors, but I also like my old neighbors. And so, and I've seen, the rail has come up and it doesn't look anything like my neighborhood that I have lived in for, a good part of my life. And I'm concerned that while we might bring business or we might bring new and wonderful people to the neighborhood, I'm also concerned that it's a lot of cement, it's a lot of bricks, it creates a wall, not a connection. And so I think that we could talk about how to make a connection and not a wall in the neighborhoods. We could encourage businesses that reflect the neighborhood and aren't just, the bougie restaurants on the other side of town that I can't afford, nor does my neighborhood really take. My neighborhood works in those restaurants. My neighborhood doesn't necessarily eat in those restaurants. So if we're going to make something that reflects the neighborhood and has connection, then we could do it this way and have that conversation, or there might be other ways too. So I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, but I'm just saying that we need to be mindful, and if our master plan isn't right, which we just redid, then we should look at why isn't it the way that we want it to be, to go in the direction that we want to go in. So I just, want to be very mindful of that. And you can talk about traffic too. I mean, traffic's terrible too. But you can't really talk about traffic until you know what you're doing. Looking at a traffic study now doesn't necessarily say what it's going to be, depending on what you want to do with that. So, the blacktop isn't beautiful. I'm not saying that that's the thing that I want. I'm just saying, be mindful of, do you have to do it this way to get to where we really want to go? And if it is the way, then let's make sure we do it the right way. And that it really, is reflective and affordable and allows, workforce housing, not luxury housing, like we want what we want for our community, then this is one, opportunity to really do something great. Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on, Jimmy. I just want to, if people haven't spoken yet, I want to get them.
That's Ben Euro, 112 Academy Street. Appreciate the presentation, Sean, a great job. Appreciate the due diligence.
Can you move the mic closer? I can't hear you.
Appreciate the.
There you go. Thank you.
Good, appreciate the council for the transparency.
What was your street again?
112 Catherine. Yeah, I know the transparency isn't required on this, but I know definitely I appreciate the opportunity to give input as other members of the public do. I think Greg did it really well. This is a big opportunity for the town. And I was even surprised that the amount of input that you guys, as well as the public, used to shape what the eventual plan may be, right? Where if you just say like, let's fix the zoning over there. Get 7 different developers doing non-cohesive developments, where here you can say, like, Red Bank deserves a public square, right? Red Bank deserves, like John said, the doormat coming off the train. Like, I walk through, up and down, all over Red Bank every day, as you guys, a lot of you know. Like, it should be like a welcoming artery through the west side to the east side, that you should get off the train and want to walk down Monmouth Street, right? It's not that far. I can't walk, and that loosens up the roads for driving. And I think this can do a lot for the infrastructure, can do a lot for a lot of things that people might think are, without your taxes going up and what that is. I won't take up too much time. I just really appreciate the serious look you guys are taking at this, and it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time because I think it's very important to plan for the future. I have a 1.5-year-old, and I want him to have a place he's proud to come back to when he's 33 years old, right? And raise his family there. So, my 2 cents. I appreciate it. Keep up all the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yep.
Dark 48, I just want to say one clear thing, because a lot of people don't have computers, laptops, smartphones. And that's something that should be given. Tell about this. I don't have a computer, cell phone, smartphone, and all that. You should let everybody know a lot of things is kept hidden like this, and people all of a sudden it's thrown on the table at one time. And my thing is, that should be dealt with, because people don't know how they go into, let me do go on the website, I want to read about this. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Anyone else have a question that Shauna would need to answer? No, okay, Shauna, thank you. You can take off, go home. Does anyone else have any comments for any other agenda items?
I just wanted to say before that happens, Shauna, what you did tonight was actually modern government in action. I know how these plans go in other municipalities, and I didn't want it to be that way. There are councils that would have just put a resolution on and passed it and gone forward. And your transparency and the knowledge and information you're sharing with people is extremely valuable. And sitting up here, I will never forget being somebody who sat there for 4 years before being up on the dais. And I was a resident that wanted to have all these questions and ask all of these things. So thank you for being so thorough, and thank you for coming and taking the time. And thank you for reiterating that there will be public input throughout this entire process, and that no action is being taken tonight, but that this was really so that the people on the dais and the people in the public and everybody in the town is starting off on the exact same footing in this process. And I think that that is really what I like to see. And I think it's something we should actually be very proud of. So thank you for being a part of it.
Thanks for having me. And also to the public, just again, if you need further explanation, feel free to call me, email. I'm happy to answer, or just stop by Borough Hall on the 3rd floor, Planning and Zoning Office. I'm happy to further elaborate, provide case studies, anything on this. Good night.
Thank you.
Shauna.
Cindy?
Cindy Burnham, 71 Wallace. I have a problem with minutes. I've never really read the minutes, but I did read the minutes tonight. And my exchange with Councilperson Blackwood was wrong. Laura, are you paraphrasing? Because you put something totally different in there. You didn't put my words, And like when we come here and we say things, at least I do, I think about how I say things and the words I want to use, and they didn't go into the minutes. It was like, you can see that you took my words and paraphrased. And then the part where Councilperson Blackwood, you have stated that she stands by what she said, but apologized if I felt offended. She didn't apologize. And she didn't say that she was sorry that she offended me. She didn't offend me, and I don't care if she apologizes or not, but I just don't think it should be in there because it didn't happen.
Well, that's why we have the draft minutes here, so corrections like that can be.
Right, no, that's
We
what
may,
I wanted
yeah.
to say that, because I listened to it again today, to the whole thing, and that's what I noticed. So I just wanted to, make the record, accurate. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So it
thank
won't
you.
go in, right?
Well, I don't know, it'll have to be,
Re-listen,
what's that?
you'll re-listen.
Yeah, something will be in there, obviously, because there was an exchange, but,
Right.
yeah.
Right, but I would appreciate it if you would put the words and exactly what.
It's not a transcript. It's just basically just a kind of summary and synopsis of what goes on.
Because it always used to be what the people said. Those were always the minutes in the past. But she didn't apologize. Like I said, I don't really care whether I don't need an apology or anything, but if she didn't apologize, it shouldn't be in there.
She did.
That's what I wanted to say.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Anyone else have any comments on the? We haven't seen in a while, Dan. Now you're like all backed up with comments. You have.
I already used my 5 minutes, so I'll be really brief. So first, I am going to be Scrooge and say that we should not be waiving meter fees during the holidays. The purpose of the parking meter fees is to ensure that there is parking available. We want to ensure that there's parking available during the holidays. In order to do that, we should be charging people. So that's my Grinchy thing. The other one, answers. I see that class 1 cultivator license is on the agenda, and at the moment we only have one. Is there any plan to allow more cultivator license? Like currently, the borough limits it to one. You're only one. Are there any plans to expand?
There's no plans right now to expand that. Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
And so 25 CDP, NP 23-117. Paragraph, and 5 licenses may be issued. When we use, and Ben, if you recall, Councilor Forrest, will and may, is absolute, so with may, does that open you guys up? That you may have X amount of licenses, but you may not, so there is some wiggle room to expand more than the licenses listed.
What do you want me to answer that? Yeah, sure. So the may refers to the fact that they don't have to award any at all, not more. So.
NP 23-115.
See repairs to DPW.
116. Comments? Just out of curiosity, it looks like you're people, I don't know who you are, I'm not criticizing that. What I'm criticizing is, why wouldn't you move like up with the alternate, somebody with experience up to a full term, and then maybe put somebody new who isn't on the board as an alternate to get their feet what's going on? Now, I'm just curious, too. I'm just curious, did they fill out an application? Because I didn't see those names in any of the applications that was requested. August, I'm not sure the date. I'm just curious of the process.
I know the Parks and Rec name came right from Oscar. He had asked us to add Katie O'Brien to the committee. Nancy, you want to speak to the Eric Green team?
Sure, Mayor, I'll be happy to. Eric Lucas, has been attending all the Green Team meetings since we reorganized. And he did in fact submit a volunteer interest form that was there. He thought he would. So this is just following up to basically cover work done. He's participating, he's enjoying it. And so we just want to make sure he's recognized as being a Green Team member.
And my next question is NP 23-115. So, it looks like there's a big variance between K and D and 7,000, just estimating here, and the other two bids, 260,000 and 200,000. So my question is.
So you 115?
Yes.
Okay, so okay, so 105, 115, okay.
The person, the company that won with the bid at 87,000 versus the next highest two, which is respectively about 270,000 and 300,000. So my question is,
Okay.
yes, we took the K and D, but is there like a cap? Because they have a lower number, but we know things happen, right? When you think you're gonna redo a room, you have a budget, and then you find out X, Y, and Z happens. So my concern is anyone looking to see what the big gap was? Because is it possible that they start work and then they find other issues and now this project can become about $250,000 project? So is there a cap? So we're not like taking at the back end?
Yes, so, I mean, Greg's just walking in now. Basically, you can't change the contract on percent. We would have to go back to council to be to be awarded again if it had to go over 20%. There was a question was on the award of the emergency job for DPW repairs. The low bid was considerably lower than the next. Can it be increased if they find more problems? And standard 20%, it can go up.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? No, anyone online there?
No, Mayor.
All right, can I have a motion to close the public comments? I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next up, we're going to approve approval of minutes and reports. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from 10/26/2023?
So moved.
I'm sorry, maybe a question. So do you want me to go back and review the video?
Oh, right, yes. I'm just thanking you. Yeah, that was the one. Actually, we're not. Yeah, we're gonna actually table that.
I would have been fine approving them, but I'm also okay with tabling them.
Yeah, just so Laura can make the corrections requested by Okay, thank you. So we're gonna hold off on that one for a sec. Can I have a motion to approve the exec session minutes from 11/1/2023?
Don't make that motion.
Have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the executive session minutes from 11/3/2023?
Aye.
Have a second? I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving down to our ordinances, hearing and adoption of NP 2023-18, amending and supplementing section 680-60, schedule 26, restricted parking for handicapped persons. I have a motion to open the floor for public hearing on this ordinance only.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone have any comments on this ordinance? No, can I have a motion to close the public hearing on this ordinance? Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to, can I have a motion to adopt ordinance NP 2023-18?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please, Laura.
Councilmember Bonatakis?
Yes.
Councilmember Cassidy?
Yes.
Councilmember Facey Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Forrest?
Yes.
Councilmember Janot?
Yes.
Councilmember Triano?
Yes.
Mayor Portman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Introduction of NP 2023-19, amending and supplementing chapter 64 Fire Department. Can I have a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Bonatakis?
Yes.
Councilmember Cassidy?
Yes.
Councilmember Facey Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Forrest?
Yes.
Councilmember Janot?
Yes.
Councilmember Triano?
Yes.
Mayor Portman?
Yes.
Passes, sir.
All right, we'll have a hearing on that ordinance on December 14th. Next, introduction of NP 2023-20, amending and supplementing chapter 680-3 parking. Can I have a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Von Atagas?
Yes.
Councilmember Cassidy?
Yes.
Councilmember Tracy Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Forrest?
Yes.
Councilmember Janone?
Yes.
Councilmember Triviano?
Yes.
Mayor Portman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. There'll be a hearing on December 14th. And introduction of NP 2023-21, amending and supplementing. Well, this will be decided in the chapter number. Oh, here, that's right. You gave me this one. Thank you. Introduction of NP 2023-21, ordinance amending chapter 490, planning and development regulations to require the provision and or posting of disconnecting means for electric vehicle charging stations.
Yes, Mayor, if I could comment on that briefly.
Yes.
Just to put this into layman terms, there is a code at the state level. It takes a while for it to come into effect, but when it comes to EV charging stations, if there were to be a fire or something, this is just so that we know where the shutoff is. So for example, sometimes there's an EV charging station on one side of the street and the shutoff might be all the way down the street. And this is just so we have clear signage and identification of that built into our code, so that we're actually moving faster than state at this point. And we're doing it through our municipal code. So that's what this is.
Right. Can I have a motion to approve introduction?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
We have a roll call.
Councilmember Von Atagas?
Yes.
Councilmember Cassidy?
Yes.
Councilmember Tracy Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Forrest?
Yes.
Councilmember Janone?
Yes.
Councilmember Triviano?
Yes.
Mayor Portman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We'll have a hearing on this as well on December 14th. We have resolutions NP 23-111 through NP 23-120. There. Eric, can we do these on the consent agenda? Is there any?
Mr. Mayor, I'm gonna ask that you vote for NP 23-119 separate. Otherwise, I agree to a consent on the rest.
Okay, well then let's do, can I have a motion to approve resolutions NP 23-111 through NP 23-120 and remove NP 23-119 from the consent agenda?
Yes, I'll make a motion.
Have a second?
Second.
We have a roll call.
Councilmember Von Atagas?
Yes.
Councilmember Cassidy?
Yes.
Councilmember Tracy Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Forrest?
Yes.
Councilmember Janone?
Yes.
Councilmember Triviano?
Yes.
Mayor Portman?
Yes. And can I have a motion to approve NP 23-119, authorizing the waiver of parking meters for holiday season?
Mayor, just for clarity, this is the same that we have done every single year with River Center. There's no increase.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I make the motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
Right, we have a roll call vote.
Councilmember Von Atagas?
Yes.
Councilmember Cassidy?
No.
Councilmember Tracy Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Forrest?
Yes.
Councilmember Janone?
Yes.
Councilmember Triviano?
Yes.
Mayor Portman?
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Under discussion and action, we have one request for a special event. And that is St. Anthony of Padua. They want to have their Our Lady of Guadalupe procession go from the corner of Dr. James Parker Boulevard and Shrewsbury Avenue to the Parish Center on Bridge Avenue. This would be at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, December 12th. Can I have a motion to approve this special event?
So moved. It's one of my favorite walks of the year.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, have a motion to open the floor for public comment.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone else have anything they want to add that wasn't covered? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Chris Pescarella from 23 Cedar Crossing, and I am also the president of the Cedar Crossing Condo Association.
I believe at last meeting, we had some homeowners from our development come and express some concerns and things that they were going through. And these are issues that we as the board of Cedar Crossing are also trying to tackle as well. Unfortunately, you know, I have to typically work on Thursday evening, so I regret being unable to come out to the last meeting, but I was able to carve some time out to be here tonight because all of us on the board were volunteer board members, homeowners as well in the community, and just trying to serve our community and move things forward as well. We do face significant challenges at Cedar Crossing. But I just wanted to introduce myself to you. I know that I've met some of you before, but I just wanted to make that introduction. I also would be remiss, I know that at the last meeting, some of the members of the steering committee invited you guys out to come to their steering committee meeting. So I would be remiss to not invite you out to our annual meeting of the Cedar Crossing Condo Association on Sunday, December 3rd at 1:30 at the Evergreen Terrace Community Room. And at the annual meeting, we are voting in new trustees so that we're able to have a full board and full team moving forward, as well as passing a budget, because we can't operate without a budget. And we believe as the board that these are two very foundational pieces to have us moving forward to tackle some of the issues that, you know, are facing our community. One of the other reasons why I'm here is I just wanted to begin the dialogue and the discussion of developing a collaborative relationship with the borough, because we're probably going to need to lean on the borough and lean on you to tackle some of the issues that we're facing, which are significant. But I believe that Cedar Crossing is a special place within Red Bank because we are a 100% affordable housing community development. Where do you find that? Where do you find that around the state anymore? I think that's very unique, and it opens up opportunities for home ownership for many people. And so I think that we play just a vital role in this community. And I believe that if Cedar Crossing is flourishing, that Red Bank community can flourish as well, and vice versa. And so I think this collaborative partnership might just be necessary also to help us get on our feet and get stabilized. For example, winter is coming, and so we don't know what Mother Nature will drop on us. Some of you attending the steering committee meeting, I was at that meeting as well, and I handed out the budget that we're trying to pass for 2024, and you've seen it, and we're trying to be very thrifty and prudent in how we're spending our money. However, we may find ourselves in need of some help, maybe in some of these services or different things that could be offered by the borough. So I'm just here to want to start the conversation in this as well, introduce myself, and also just wanted to put forth to you if you had any questions for myself or questions to take back to the board of the condo association.
Chris, what time did you say the meeting was on Sunday, December 3rd?
It's at 1:30.
1:30, thank you.
I just had a comment. The best thing your board did was hire that attorney. And so if you spend any money, she was excellent. And it was a pleasure meeting you and all your residents at that meeting. It was clear that you guys are in good hands with her guidance.
I want to say that I learned a lot going to the steering committee meeting and listening, and I think you're building a good foundation, and I do wish that you go forward. The other thing that I never found out is, did you find that junction box?
No.
No? Okay.
Still looking.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
For your
as well.
service to your community, Chris.
Anyone else have any questions or comments?
Cindy Burnham, 71 Wallace. 3 meetings ago, Councilperson Triviano spoke for the whole council. And she said that, you know, the whole council is in agreement that senior center property should not go on the Rossi. My question is, when did you guys meet as a council to discuss this?
I think this is more of just when you're having conversation, one-on-one conversations. There was certainly no special executive meeting, secret meeting call to all agree that the property shouldn't be on the Rossi. No.
That's what I mean, like, when I come to every council meeting, we never just.
You did it right in front of her, the meeting before that.
Or was it?
Correct. We were on the dais.
What?
We were all up here.
What is
And-
this?
Yeah.
That's all. Also, I believe at least a few of us were on the record.
In
before-
public questionnaires that are all in the press while we were running, stating that we didn't believe it should be on the Rossi.
And just, I was on the planning board and as a resident, at a meeting of the previous council. I think
Yeah.
A couple of us spoke, so.
Press.
Well, I never saw anything, but that's if you wanna go with that, you can go with that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have any comments? What's that?
Straightforward.
Yeah. And then Barbara, after Freddie, go ahead, Freddie.
I won't be long. Oh, go ahead.
Martha Monahan, 30 Queen Road. I'm going to have to say this tonight. I just witnessed a session. Of session. And I saw it last week also. And it's so strange. It's a small group.
Barbara, I just want to try and focus on,
They're allowed to comment on anything they want right now.
That's
Whatever
all right.
the items, they're allowed to say whatever
Right.
they want.
Okay.
Someone could talk about their dog for 5 minutes. They
All
can
right.
talk about whatever they want.
I apologize for interrupting.
Out of line to you, I take your, I value your opinion of that. And the thing is, what bothered me about it a lot was the headlines the meeting got last week. Do you remember? You know what I'm talking about, right? String of violent words, meaning nothing. And instead of that magnificence I witnessed that day. Am I the only person really who doesn't understand what a marvelous thing happened that afternoon? Really? I mean, I just read that the leading cause of death of people under 40 years old now is overdose. Now, maybe it got very close to me personally, I don't really know, but this is what I was trying to say passionately last week. So, I can't help but get emotional. And also, I felt bad to hear somebody say, like, or imply that you don't have compassion, you guys, because I know, certainly you all do. I've seen it, I felt it, and I would even go as far to say that I felt like it was a circle at that press conference and a spiritual connection amongst people who were united to do some good.
Thank you.
Can I say something, Mr. Mayor? Sure. Ms. Monahan, I just want to say thank you, first of all, and I think most people did see what this borough took on last time. Under OPMA, people have Open Public Meetings Act, people have a right to speak, and we value that. And sometimes we have to sit here and suffer things that we don't necessarily want to. But that's how we protect the First Amendment, so that we can hear beautiful words like yours. We have to sometimes hear vile words like last meeting. And I respect that. And you know what? You have equal right to do so. And we'll always honor that in this chamber, as long as I have a say in that. And I don't have to agree with everybody that comes up here and speaks, but that's their right, and they're gonna have that right respected in this chamber. Ready?
Still 7-4 Great Point. Okay, council, I just want to know a couple things. Y'all been in here now for a while. How come y'all cannot hire somebody to sit down and for the sunset. But other councils, they Gary Washington, for 3 months, all that money to come here, you can't hire somebody to sit down there. People's actually bringing stuff down there and dropping off at the gate because it's locked. All these other towns, and I said it one time before, they open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Little town, it falls, Asbury, they open 6 days a week. You're not saving money by keeping that landfill closed down there on Monday. People actually taking their boxing and stuff out the Mazda, paying to get rid of it out the Mazda. Mazda making money for it out there, and the borough losing. They bringing trash and stuff because they can't get in down there. They dropping it on the street. The other thing is, borough employee, one of the trucks is that, 10 Falls, they worked on. Is we have a problem here in the town with our mechanic?
No, there's no problem with our mechanics.
I don't know why 10 Falls working on our trucks or saying what's wrong with our trucks. They should.
Didn't work on it. We asked them for their opinion on something.
I mean, I got no problem with that, but you know, you got dealerships out here that does that. DOT inspection on trucks, they does that.
Sure, but this is free for us. We asked another
I mean,
town.
I understand that, but it was a little friction going on, and it shouldn't be. It's the respect that anybody gives somebody in this town, no matter who you are, you give that respect. Who's up under you. The other thing is, mayor and councilmen, I appreciate y'all passing ordinance. Bunch of bills, appreciate that. That when that going back, we have more to do about the park. I know that. The other thing is, we're getting a lot of cars speed on Bank Street, River Street, speed. Need to do something about it. Somebody gonna get hurt sooner or later, a child gonna get hit. I had approached a couple of deals over there. They just constantly coming through there cheap. I asked your son with the speed, the thing, how fast they're going up. And I know he said it was somewhere else, but he was pulled on top of land. That. The other thing is, I worked here in this town for 30 years. I lived here in this town, 60 years. In this town. I've done a lot for this town, still doing a lot for this town. We have to stop playing games with racial discrimination. NACP coming in here and using that, that's nonsense. We have to clean that stuff up over there. Y'all councilors in here now, other councilors didn't do nothing, but y'all in here, we have to do something about that. It's going too far. I know y'all councilors don't know it. It's a house on Dayton Avenue. Chief, you might have been police there. They tore that house down for the same condition. The borough actually tore that house down on Layton Avenue. But this have to be done. And I looked in the paper. I got back there. I don't know. It says he was fined $4,000 and some dollars. That money paid up.
Where's this? I'm sorry, Freddie, I'm not sure what property you're talking about.
On Bank Street.
Mr. Pope, I don't think it's appropriate.
Can't talk about it.
Yeah, we can't give out that information.
I mean, is it?
Let me say in general, if you have a hardship in the municipal court for non-criminal violations, you have essentially an indefinite payment plan.
What I'm saying is, if it's in the Red Bank Green about the figure he was fined, how come the borough, the attorney, the taxpayers pay you, the attorney? I'm not getting on you, but I'm being fair. We cannot do nothing about this. That's what we paying you for. You got witness from the code enforcement, the police, the borough. You got witness all over. Take them to court. And no way he's gonna win this. But the condition of that is getting worse and worse and worse. Just the other day, I caught a big skunk. That's the 10th skunk that I caught. I took it out in 10 balls and let it go. That's the 10th one. But I'm just saying, it's getting worse. Y'all councils up here, I know they putting the burden on you. We have to do something about this.
Mr. Boyd, assure me, I assure you, I am aware of the issue on Bank Street. And I have presented a correction action plan to at least a few people up here. And we know about it and we're working on it.
I'm just
The new
saying,
council, they only been here for a few months. But I have already discussed fire hazards with them and we will be working on that.
because if you really look at it, you done violated every borough ordinance in this town, and it's something have to be done. People complain about it now. You don't know. I'm not here to attack the man, but when your house gets so bad and whatnot, you shouldn't keep it up.
Look, I don't want to talk about, individual, the borough is aware and
I mean, I have
I
my
want to publicly discuss it, but
freedom to speak, but I just, as a lawyer, I think it's time now to do something. We cannot let this go on and on and on. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? One more. This is it. This is it, Dan. Make it a good one. Cutting you off after this.
I'm loving it.
Really quick question. Can you tell us anything?
State your address again.
Yeah, Dan Ritter, one of your complaints. Can you tell us anything about the hunt for council for borough manager?
Can we legally say?
to talk about it tonight, and possibly make a decision.
We're talking about it tonight, Mayor.
Yeah, we were having an executive session,
But
to,
Could say to possibly make a decision.
yeah.
Yeah.
We have some good candidates and we may be making a decision this evening. Yeah, but again, until the candidate is notified and we come to an agreement, you're just gonna have to wait. Right. Anyone else? Motion to close the public comment?
Anyone online?
Have a second?
Is there anyone online? No.
No.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Christina, you have anything,
Yeah, sure. Just really quickly, I wanted to thank the residents who have spoken with me about the Historic Preservation Commission. I'm getting a little complex about it. Honestly, I was hoping that we'd have that in hand to show the council at this point. But I think most people I've spoken with understand that we're making a good faith effort to put together the best possible ordinance and eventually a commission for the town. So thank you for your patience, and it's in the works.
Just a couple quick things. First, I want to acknowledge the hard work of the election workers that come into Red Bank this past Tuesday, and to all the borough employees. It ran smoothly by all accounts that I've heard once again here in Red Bank, and I just want to say we had early voting, everything. I haven't had a complaint, and my experience was as wonderful. I had the nicest of the workers over in my district this time around. I love them. I hope they come back every time, but a very well job well done by all in the borough here at 90 Monmouth in ensuring a smooth democratic process this past Tuesday. And one of my top couple of events of the year is coming up. Red Bank Fire Department Santa Run is 12/23. It's December 23rd. Registration is currently open. It's free. Check out our website. We do accept donations, but there has never been a child in Red Bank who hasn't had a visit from Santa Claus through the fire department that has requested one. It is optional and it is genuinely optional. So I'll be driving a Ladder 9-1, and being chauffeur to Santa is one of the great privileges of my life every year. Yes.
Again, I have a tough one to beat here. Sustainable Jersey actions to get Red Bank recertified as a Sustainable Jersey community are on the way. We have a lot of interesting actions related to how we're looking at our land and what we do with recycling and all this other fun stuff. So I encourage our interim borough manager as well as employees of the borough, if someone from the green team or the EC reaches out to you, please respond. We have to get this work done. There will be no council hours next week, Wednesday. I say that with certain certainty because many of us will be at the New Jersey League of Municipalities. It's an annual conference where you take classes and learn about all things municipal. So that's where we'll be. But we should be back the day before Thanksgiving, at least in the morning. I'll speak to that. If the senior center is open, we'll be there. I also, this is our last council meeting for the month. So I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving or whatever holidays you celebrate in November. Thank you.
Councilman Forrest.
I covered the rec stuff and the school stuff pretty much in the last meeting, so I don't have any reports on those things. But I did very much appreciate the presentation tonight and the questions from everyone. I'm struggling with it because as those of you, redevelopment has not been my favorite topic as a resident over the past, and I won't revisit all those things. And as an environmental activist, is a word that has been used very often as cover for doing bad things and financial misdeeds. So I'm a pretty hard sell on it. I'm probably leaning toward going for it. I'm certainly will listen to what everyone has to say. I think some of the things that several of the residents said, resonate with me. But, as I walked here tonight, I walked through the redevelopment zone that they're talking about. And, it's mostly parking lots. It's our dilapidated. Actually, I would argue with Dan that our DPW is a blight zone. Okay, so I'm going to argue with you on that one. And that building does not look very healthy to me, that hangar in there. Although I haven't done it, that's just my opinion, obviously. I also am a little concerned, and this wasn't mentioned by anyone tonight, but New Jersey Transit is not on my list of really well run or funded agencies. And I would actually like, as part of this process, to get somebody from New Jersey Transit here to talk a little bit about this whole thing. And I would actually like to visit some of these other, maybe I'll just go as Ben to some of these transit places. You have one in Aberdeen, don't you? Whatever that is in Mattawan, that station thing, you guys know?
Not in Mattawan has a transit village. Aberdeen is not a transit village.
Okay. But I think Sean mentioned to me at some point something about that. Yeah, I'd like to go take a look at one of those. I really loathe, giving tax breaks, but the other thing that is really a huge problem, it's really a crisis in the country and in Red Bank in particular, is there's no friggin' housing. There's no housing. I mean, I am now getting comments from business owners in town that they're concerned about employees not being able to come to work for them anymore because they can't find anywhere to live in Red Bank. My street is transitioning. There are many streets that are, and the units that were, I could not afford to move into this town now myself. And, our downtown needs people working in those stores. And you didn't say what time your meeting is, by the way. I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it.
1:30, right?
That's my comments, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Bring your mic over there. All right, Laura, you're up.
What you got here, Laura?
I got
Yeah.
something. So this is from Riverview, Hackensack Meridian. We finally got AEDs.
Yay!
We actually got 3 of them for the library, 1 for each floor. So here they are. We're gonna figure out how to mount them. I put a lot of pressure on to get one for this Friday. The other 2 were in the library, and we're gonna figure out how to mount them. But we have them. So while we're on the library, we have the library's 100th anniversary tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Right?
Yay!
So that's tomorrow night. And the animal welfare did not meet this week because of voting in this room, and that's where we hold our meeting. So that will be next week, which I can't go to because I will be in Atlantic City and won't be at office hours at the library then because we'll be at our conference. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm also looking forward to the Santa Run, going with 9-6. It'll be fun. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get them in here before the end of the year, but our boys soccer team won the Shore Athletic League Championship, and it was, so maybe we can get them in here and recognize them. And then in cross country, 3 students medaled, with 1 student finishing in the top 10 in Monmouth County. So congratulations to them. Also, thank you to the Red Bank Borough Education Foundation. Both the primary and the middle school each have new book vending machines. Which I know about through my kid. So it's pretty cool. It's like a vending machine. It makes books exciting again. And I think that that's such an innovative, great way that the foundation helps. So thank you, Barbara and the Red Bank Borough Education Foundation for that. Holiday season's approaching. I know that we only have one more meeting in December, the calendar year. But just check the borough website, check River Center. There's the Holiday Express tree lighting, there's the West Side tree lighting. There's other events happening around town. I want to stress, please shop small. Please. We all love having a downtown. We love having small businesses. Some things that I do is I go and I find items that are, you know, like under $10 in some of the businesses that I like, and I buy multiple of them. So I have like a stockpile of things I can give to, like, all the small gifts to give people. It really needs to be a conscious effort. We like having these businesses here. We want to have these businesses here. And they're depending on us. So please shop small. These are people that not only work in our community, have business in our community, many of them live in our community. So, you know, just think about where you spend your money, and just remember, when you support a small business, you're supporting a family, you're paying for a kid's soccer gear, you're paying for that family to maybe get to go on vacation that year. You know, it's a direct impact. So that's my plea. Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah, I actually went and spoke to the Red Bank Rotary Club today. Been around for like over 100 years. I thought that was pretty cool. Another organization trying to do some good stuff in Red Bank. I invited them to look into coming to the Mayor's Wellness Initiative event that we're having on November 18th. Very exciting. A lot of response. A lot of the service providers in and around Red Bank are going to be there. We're giving away 150 turkeys. We're doing free COVID and flu shots, blood pressure screenings, financial advising. There's all kinds of things that are going to be there, and I'm looking forward. And I'm also going to be down at the league and talking with the people who run the Mayor's Wellness Initiative statewide directly. So that was good. Yeah, tomorrow I'm excited to be going to the library event. Saturday we've got the Veterans Day event. Tuesday I wanted to let everybody know I have a dear childhood friend, Robbie Gadati, who started an organization called Recover Revolution. They help people who have gotten out of rehab. It's like transitional housing. So it's group homes all around Monmouth and Ocean County. People are learning, relearning life skills. They provide housing, rides to AA meetings. Anyway, they've been around for 7 years. They're having their first ever gala at Triumph Brewery, ironically. It's the only place that had the space. But it's Tuesday night. I will actually be late going to the league in Atlantic City because I'll be here for that event. So you can find it online, Recover Revolution, if anyone else wants to come. I'm sure they'd love to have you. Otherwise, that's it. We have executive sessions, so we will take a
Could I
5
say
minute.
something we forgot to bring up?
Yeah.
The lights for bikes, this Sunday
lights for
at the
bikes.
train station.
Oh, that's right.
So anybody who wants lights on their bikes, they'll be putting lights on the front and the back.
For
of
free.
their bike, for free.
Yep.
So spread the word.
Thanks so much. One temple.
It's Monmouth Reform Temple along with the police department, right? Yes. So. Time, I have it right here, 1 o'clock at the train station.
Mayor?
Or historical train station.
Yeah.
Mayor, may I add one thing that
Sure.
I forgot? This is really important. It's the Shrewsbury Avenue Streetscape Improvement Program. There's going to be a presentation at the Senior Center on the 20th of November from 6 to 8. I'm a big fan of this. I'm a big proponent of this because they're talking about putting in more bump outs to make it safer for pedestrians to cross, and the possibility of getting more flashing beacons. And, I think about the seniors who had their safety class the other day. I think this would be great. So spread the word to your friends, and hope to see you all there.
All right. Do I just for motion to go to executive session now?
Yeah,
Wait.
we have the
I never remember the order.
They're doing the manager,
What's that?
managers reports tonight, or just?
Oh, yeah. Were you
Oh, yeah.
doing the report there?
Yeah.
I can, it wasn't on the agenda, but
Oh,
I'll go, I'll hit the highlights anyway. So, most of what we've been doing, late I got it. Most of what we've been doing lately is working on the budget, getting our budget schedule down. So the CFO and I have been doing that. The department heads have their budget worksheets for 2024. So they'll be in after Thanksgiving, and then we'll start going through those and meeting with the department heads individually to go through their budget, especially any that have a proposed increase. The tax collector wanted me to mention that we had a tax sale in October, and there are 12 properties that went out and were sold. When taxes and water bills are sold. Let's see, planning and zoning, we heard from tonight on that. The parking utility is doing really well this year. Again, even better than last year as far as revenue, and you know, it's overall performing very well. They're up about 12%. And DPW, you guys just awarded tonight the emergency repairs to the garage. So everybody over there is excited for that, to get that done before the winter. That contractor, by the way, is ready to start almost immediately and plans to be done by December 1st, which is pretty aggressive, but good. So our building department's working with them to get the permits issued right away. And then that's about it. Then a couple of parks, Eastside Park is basically done. I think they have 1 or 2 more lines to paint and a small piece of fence to put up if it's not done today. But Eastside Park, pickleball, tennis courts, and basketball courts are all done. And
The nets up, they put the nets up too?
they were doing it this week, so I don't know if they went up today or tomorrow, but they're supposed to.
Tolerate that, Billy? You and me, first match?
Sure.
And lastly, we just recently, we spoke briefly, I think last meeting, about the $120,000 grant we got for a Vision Zero action plan for traffic safety. And we also just received a DOT award of almost $300,000 for work on Linden Place, which is our last concrete deck road, exposed concrete deck road in town. So that also should be done in 2024 now.
All right, thank you. I guess it's a motion to adjourn to executive session.
I'll make that the motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.
We have a
All right.
couple-minute break, though, maybe.
Yeah, we'll take 5-minute breaks. Gonna ask you guys to clear so we can talk personnel.
I believe we may
Thank
be.
you.
The exec 45, 30, 40 minutes. Executive session will last no longer than 45 minutes, and there will be no official action taken thereafter.
I just wanted to tell you something.